Good morning and welcome to this session of Virtual Classroom Project. It's a web initiative of Department of Geology, Government VYT PG Autonomous College, Durg. Today we are going to discuss processes of rock weathering. It's a part of syllabus of BSc first year Geology, first paper, Geodynamics and Geomorphology. Let us start with the definition of geomorphology. Geomorphology is a branch of geology which deals with the study of Earth's superficial features, including their origin and evolution and impact on human activity. The word geomorphology comes from the Greek roots geo, morpho and logos, meaning earth, form and study respectively. The study of geomorphology aims at the proper understanding of the processes which mold the surface of the globe through their ceaseless action through ages. What is a geomorphic process? The modification of landforms present on the surface of the earth due to various physical and chemical changes is known as geomorphic process. We can classify the geomorphic processes into four major groups: exogenetic processes, endogenetic processes, diastrophism and extraterrestrial processes. Exogenetic processes can be further classified into gradation, weathering, mass movement, erosion by various geological agencies. Endogenetic processes can be classified into earthquakes and volcanism. Diastrophism can be further classified into epirogenic processes and orogenic processes. The extraterrestrial process consists of impact of meteorites. In nature, two exogenetic processes go hand in hand. The process of reducing the altitude of a highland by wear and tear, it is called degradation. The other process, which is of elevation of low-lying terrain by deposition of sediments, and it is called aggradation. Geomorphology deals with the study of landforms developed during various phases of degradation and aggradation caused by various geological agencies. Now let us try to understand what is weathering. According to Thornbury, weathering may be defined as the disintegration or decomposition of rock in place. It is really a name for a group of processes which act collectively at and near the surface of the earth and reduce solid rock masses to the clastic state. We can also define weathering in the form of a process due to which the rock breaks and undergoes decay under the influence of atmospheric agencies like wind, sun, frost, water and organisms and produce soil. It includes disintegration or physical breaking and decomposition or chemical decay. Weathering is combined action of all processes that cause rock to disintegrate physically and decompose chemically because of exposure near the earth's surface through the elements of weather such as temperature, rainfall, frost, ice, etc. Now let us try to understand the difference between weathering and erosion. The product of weathering lies at its original position. There is no transportation or movement of material involved other than its falling down under the force of gravity. It means weathering is a static process and it does not involve the seizure and removal of material by any transporting agency. While erosion is the sum total of breaking down of the rocks into smaller fragments and their dislodging or removal from the original home. Denudation. It is the process of exposing fresh surface of country rock or laying bare the country rock for further action of the natural geological agencies such as wind, running water, glaciers, etc. Various factors which govern the extent and rate of weathering are: first, rock type, that is the mineralogy and structures of the rock. A rock with high amount of stable minerals like quartz rich sandstone will be more resistant to weathering. The rocks with increased number of joints and fractures wither more quickly than a solid mass of rock with the same dimensions. Climate also affects weathering, the rate of weathering as well as the extent of weathering. Climate includes rainfall and temperature. The amount of rainfall helps to determine the amount of water present for weathering. The temperature governs the rate at which the weathering takes place. Time, slope and topography, and vegetation are other major factors which govern the extent and rate of weathering. Vegetation acts in both ways. It supports weathering as well as it prevents weathering. It depends upon the circumstances. All these factors have to be considered together. No single factor should be taken into consideration. There are various types of mechanisms of weathering, and they can be classified into three major groups: physical weathering, chemical weathering, and biological weathering. Physical weathering can be subclassified into frost wedging, abrasion, pressure release fracturing, thermal expansion and contraction, and hydraulic action. Chemical weathering can be subclassified into oxidation, carbonation, hydration, solution, and hydrolysis, while biological weathering can be subclassified into the action of plant roots, action of burrowing animals, action of humus, action of human beings, and the activity of lichens. Physical weathering means the disintegration of rocks and minerals by a physical or mechanical process. Because of physical weathering, the rocks break down into the material into smaller portion without altering their chemical composition. Water is attracted to itself, and it leads to an important property, one that is extremely rare in the natural world. The liquid form of water is denser than the solid form, that is that of ice. Water is densest at 4 degree temperature, and it is less dense above and below this temperature. As water solidifies into ice, the molecules must move apart in order to fit into the crystal lattice, causing water to expand and become less dense as it freezes. Frost wedging is based on the principle of the power of expanding ice to break apart the rocks. Water works its ways into various cracks, voids, and crevices. As the water freezes, it expands with great force, exploiting any weakness. When ice melts, the liquid water moves further into the widened spaces. Repeated cycles of freezing and melting eventually break the rocks apart, as seen in this figure. Abrasion is the grinding and wearing away of rock surfaces through mechanical means of other rock or sand particles, which means during the transportation, rock fragments and sand particles, they grind the country rock, or they wear and tear the country rock, and this process is known as abrasion. Igneous rocks are formed deep within the earth. If the conditions are right, uplift plus weathering and erosion can remove the overlying materials until the igneous rock is close to the surface. The rock that was once compressed by the weight of all the rocks above it now expands with the decrease in pressure. This can cause joints and fractures to form into which water can penetrate to allow physical and chemical weathering processes to occur. This process also occurs in sedimentary and metamorphic rocks that were once deeply buried. Constant change in temperature causes expansion and contraction of the rocks, with the outside expanding and contracting more than the inside. This can cause cracks to develop in the rock masses. These cracks provide pathways for rainwater to enter, which speeds up the breakdown of the rock. Rocks are not good conductor of heat. The outer surfaces of the rocks are heated while the middle remains relatively cool. Repeated heating and cooling can cause the outer surface of the rock to flake away from the main rock like layers of onion. This is called exfoliation. Exfoliation is a process in which large, flat or curved sheet of rock fracture and are detached from the outcrop. We can see the phenomenon of exfoliation in rocks in these two photographs. The first one is that of a granite outcrop, and the second one is a basalt showing exfoliation. River water on its seaward course exhibits hammering action on uneven faces of jointed rocks and removes blocks of rocks. This is commonly seen at the bottom of waterfalls. At the rocky shores, air in fracture can suddenly be compressed by a wave closing the entrance of the fracture. This compressive force can widen the fracture. We can see the hydraulic action in this photograph of waterfall as well as a shoreline showing seashore, in which seawater is compressing air into the cracks and fractures of the rock, causing breaking down of the rock. When the seawater in pore spaces or cracks in rocks evaporates, ions present in the water can precipitate out of the solution to form salts. As the salt crystals grow, pressures they exert on the rock may be large enough to cause the rock to disintegrate. The effect of salt crystallization can be seen in coastal areas. An example of salt weathering can be seen in the honeycombed stones in sea wall. Honeycomb is a type of tuffany, a class of cavernous rock weathering structures. Chemical weathering breaks down rocks by changing the minerals they contain. Minerals weather chemically when they react with air and water. In these processes, some minerals dissolve and others combine with atmospheric components, mainly water, oxygen and carbon dioxide, to form new minerals. The specific reactions include solution, oxidation, hydration and hydrolysis. Oxygen causes chemical weathering in rocks. With a little help from water, oxygen reacts with iron containing minerals. The reaction changes the minerals and it makes the rocks brittle and crumbly and turning them a rusty red color, as we can see in the photograph. Carbonation involves the reaction between minerals and carbonate or bicarbonate ions. Increased carbon dioxide in the air can create acid rain that contains carbonic acid. In some urban environments, these small amounts of acid in the rain are slowly dissolving buildings made of limestone and concrete. A similar process occurs when acid in water moves through the soil. The carbonic acid creates H+ ions, which can be substituted for other ions within minerals, thus altering their composition and eventually causing them to break down. We can see the chemical reactions which are involved in carbonation. Carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, it dissolves in the rainwater to form weak carbonic acid, that is H2CO3. This acid attacks limestone dissolving carbonates to form calcium bicarbonate. Dissolution of limestone creates extensive underground cavern systems. Hydration is the process whereby water molecules are added to a mineral to form a new mineral. Common examples of hydration are the addition of water to hematite to form goethite or to anhydrite to form gypsum. Hydration is accompanied by volume changes that may lead to physical disruption of the rocks. As we can see, hematite when reacts with water, it forms goethite as shown in the equation. Hydrolysis is a chemical weathering process affecting silicate and carbonate minerals. In such reactions, pure water ionizes slightly and reacts with silicate minerals. This reaction theoretically results in complete dissolution of the original mineral if enough water is present to drive the reaction. In reality, pure water rarely reacts as a H+ donor. Carbon dioxide, though, dissolves readily in water, forming a weak acid and H+ donor. So we can see the reaction as olivine and carbonic acid, they react to form magnesium bicarbonate ions and silicic acid. Aluminosilicates, when subjected to hydrolysis, they produce a secondary mineral rather than simply releasing cations. For example, orthoclase, when reacts with water containing carbonic acid, it turns into kaolinite, which is a clay mineral, and silicic acid and potassium bicarbonate ions. Rainfall is acidic because atmospheric carbon dioxide dissolves in the rainwater, producing weak carbonic acid. In unpolluted environments, the rainfall pH is around 5.6. Acid rain occurs when gases such as sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides are present in the atmosphere. These oxides react in the rainwater to produce stronger acids and can lower the pH to 4.5 or even 3, which can cause the solution weathering to the rocks on which it falls. Some minerals, due to their natural solubility, for example evaporites, oxidation potential, iron-rich minerals such as pyrite, or instability relative to superficial conditions. As we can see in the Goldich dissolution series, these minerals, they weather through dissolution naturally, even without acidic water. One of the most well-known solution weathering processes is carbonation, the process in which the atmospheric carbon dioxide leads to solution weathering. Carbonation occurs on rocks which contain calcium carbonate such as limestone and chalk. Biological weathering refers to weathering caused by organisms, animals, plants, fungi, microorganisms such as bacteria, and of course human beings also. Living organisms may influence chemical and physical weathering. Activity of organisms that occupy cracks produce acids, which then promotes chemical weathering and growth of micro cracks. The roots of the trees, grasses and other plants can grow into small spaces and gaps in rocks. When these roots grow, they exert pressure on the rock around them, causing the gap to widen or even crack. Plant roots can also weather raw through chemical processes. When dead roots decompose, they release carbon dioxide. This is sometimes converted into carbonic acid, which chemically breaks down rock into soil. We can see an example of biological weathering in this photograph. Lichens, symbiotic colonies of fungi and microscopic algae that grow on rock, also contribute to weathering. The fungi in a lichen produce chemicals that break down the minerals in the rock. The algae, like bacteria, use these minerals for nutrition. Animals can also contribute to weathering. Burrowing animals such as badgers and moles can break up the rock underground or bring it to the surface, where it is exposed to other weathering forces. Some animals directly burrow into the rock. Human activities like construction, mining and quarrying break up the rocks and thus contribute to biological weathering. Living or once living organisms can also be agents of chemical weathering. The decaying remains of animals and plants form humus and carbonic acid, which can weaken and dissolve rock. Some bacteria can weather rock in order to access nutrients such as magnesium or potassium. These are the sources from which this presentation has been prepared. Thank you for viewing this presentation.